There are killers who terrify you because they're human, and killers who terrify you because they aren't. Michael Myers is the first kind, a walking void in human shape. Springtrap is the second, a corpse built of hate, metal, and something that should never exist. Put them in the same place at the same time, you don't get a fight, you get a collision between two different definitions of evil. But who's ultimately going to win? Let's find out. Michael Myers isn't just a slasher villain. He isn't a man with a knife. He isn't even a monster wearing a mask. Michael Myers is a presence, an emotion carved into flesh, the shape, evil in human form. And for the people of Haddonfield, he's the closest thing their world has to a natural disaster, something that doesn't negotiate, doesn't hesitate, doesn't stop, and never, ever dies. Born in 1957, Michael began his legacy of violence at just 6 years old, murdering his own sister with the cold, mechanical precision of someone far older. From that moment on, every doctor who examined him, especially Dr. Loomis, agreed on one thing. Michael didn't think like a person. He didn't feel like a person. Loomis described him as purely and simply evil. That's not a metaphor. In the Green and Thorn timelines, multiple supernatural threads tie into Michael's existence. In one, he's a human void incapable of empathy, and in the other, he's literally empowered by an ancient cult's curse that turns him into a demonic force of nature. Whichever version you pick, the foundation stays the same. Michael Myers is not bound by the limits of a human body, and the feats prove it. Michael's strength is consistently superhuman. He crushes skulls with his bare hands, snaps necks effortlessly, and lifts grown adults off the ground with one arm, including firefighters in full gear. He impales people through walls, punches through rib cages, breaks bones like it's nothing, overpowers large men with casual ease. In Halloween Kills, he kills an entire squad of trained firefighters by himself. In the Thorn timeline, his physical power reaches even higher, casually bending metal restraints and lifting people like props. These aren't one-off showings, this is routine. Michael Myers treats human durability like wet paper. His durability is even more absurd. Michael is taking gunshots at point-blank range, explosions, stabbings, blunt force trauma, burning buildings, and electrocution. He always gets up. He tanked a full house fire, walked out untouched. He survived being hit by a car, shot repeatedly, stabbed in the neck, stabbed in the spine, and beaten by a mob. In the Thorn timeline, he survives a point-blank explosion with 0 lasting injuries. And in Halloween Kills, his durability reaches something almost supernatural. Every injury seems only to make him stronger. He's a walking contradiction of biology, a being whose body endures in ways that no medical science can explain. Michael's speed often gets overlooked because of his eerie, slow walk, but he's shockingly fast when he wants to be. Multiple victims see him across the street one moment, and seconds later, he's already inside the house. He closes distances instantly, appears behind people without sound, and breaks into houses faster than anyone can react. Characters consistently describe the experience the same way. I turned around, and he was just there. And then there's his stealth. If Batman is the master of urban stealth, Michael Myers is the master of supernatural stealth. He makes 0 noise. He appears in rooms that people thought were secure. He hides in shadows that shouldn't hide a human body. He can move through entire neighborhoods without a single person spotting him. And the wildest part? He does it all while wearing a mask, holding a knife, and dragging a massive frame that should not be able to disappear this efficiently. Michael doesn't sneak around, he just materializes. But all of this, the strength, the durability, the stealth, it's only half of what makes Michael terrifying. The real core of his power is his will. Michael Myers does not stop. He has no fear, no hesitation, no doubts. He doesn't speak, doesn't plead, doesn't react emotionally. His mind is so alien that Dr. Loomis spent decades studying him and concluded that Michael is not a man, but a shape, a blank slate filled only with the instinct to kill. And that single-minded drive lets him power through injuries that would cripple anyone else. Shot 6 times, he gets up. Shot more, he gets up. Hit by a car, he gets up. Burned alive, he gets up. Killed by a mob, he gets up angrier. Michael isn't powered by logic or biology. He's powered by inevitability. The force that drives him is closer to a law of nature than a human motive. In the Thorn timeline, this idea becomes literal. The curse turns him into a chosen vessel of death, granting near immortality, extraordinary physical power, and a supernatural fixation on eliminating the last of his bloodline. But even in the Green timeline, without the cult, Michael's persistence and survivability defy anything human. Laurie Strode describes him as a lifetime of fear shaped into a person. That's not a hyperbole, that's the shape of Michael Myers. And despite all this monstrous brutality, Michael is intelligent in his own disturbing way. He stalks victims for hours without being seen. He uses environmental weapons, ambush tactics, misdirection, and a predator's patience. He positions corpses in ways designed to create fear. He cuts power, blocks exits, manipulates people into isolation. His mind doesn't work like ours, but it works frighteningly well for what he wants to do. Michael Myers is horror distilled, a human body within human purpose, a monster powered not by rage, but by emptiness. And whether he's a cursed vessel, a supernatural anomaly, or simply evil made flesh, only one thing remains true across every timeline. Michael Myers is the shape, and the shape always returns. Before he was Springtrap, before the rot, before the screams, before the killing machine he eventually became, he was William Afton, a brilliant engineer, a businessman, a father, and a monster. In the world of Five Nights at Freddy's, Afton isn't just another slasher villain. He is the architect of the franchise's entire nightmare. A serial killer who understood children's trust, exploited it, and weaponized it. But the moment he stepped inside that spring Bonnie suit for the final time, he became something far worse, something fused together, bone, metal, hatred, and agony, all into a creature that should not exist. William Afton died in that room, and Springtrap crawled out of it. Springtrap is the end result of decades of obsession. Afton built animatronics that could mimic life. Then he discovered how to steal it. He experimented with Remnant, the supernatural energy that binds souls to machines, and used it to create living metal powered by suffering. But he never expected the spirits of the children he murdered to come after him. Cornered in an old back room, Afton panicked, hid inside the spring Bonnie suit, and triggered the spring locks. Metal, rusted, razor-sharp restraints snapped shut with a force strong enough to pierce bone and shred organs. It should have killed him instantly. Instead, it turned him into the franchise's most horrifying creation. What crawled out of that room wasn't William Afton anymore. It was a corpse encased in an animatronic frame. No heartbeat, no normal motor functions, no living biology. Just raw, stubborn hatred, overpowering death itself. That's Springtrap's true horror. He's animated not by electricity or hydraulics, but by sheer will. In the FNAF canon, Springtrap is explicitly described as still alive, despite being impaled, half mummified, and trapped for decades. He survives in a suit filled with rusted metal, rot, and broken mechanisms that grind against his bones with every movement. Most creatures endure pain. Springtrap ignores it completely. And the sheer physicality that comes from that combination of machine and corpse is brutal. Springtrap tears through heavy metal doors. He rips apart animatronics built to withstand industrial accidents. His hands can crush endoskeleton frames and smash through reinforced barriers. He's able to ragdoll robots, overpower security mechanisms, and break through walls with raw strength. He may look slow and decayed, but every strike he throws carries the force of an industrial machine powered by hatred. He doesn't move elegantly, he lunges, slams, and overwhelms with unstoppable momentum. His durability is even more disturbing. Springtrap survives electrocution, crushing force, buildings collapsing, and fires hot enough to melt metal. He survives decades of rot and decay without losing mobility. He survives remnant burning flames meant to erase supernatural entities. He survives being repeatedly destroyed and rebuilt, returning again and again as Scrap Trap, Burn Trap, and even Glitch Trap's digital consciousness. William Afton's entire identity becomes one unbreakable rule. He always comes back. Springtrap isn't regenerating here, he just simply refuses to die. But the story gets darker when you account for Remnant. Afton didn't just trap children's souls, he learned how to bind consciousness to machinery, how to transfer minds, how to haunt hardware and code. Springtrap isn't just a physical monster, he's a metaphysical one. His presence bleeds into electronics, manifests in VR games, infects software, and hijacks robotics. He's effectively become an astral parasite with a physical body. Even when the suit burns, even when he's reduced to charred scrap, his consciousness survives through Remnant. It resurrects him, mutates him, and reinvents him. And because of that supernatural foundation, Springtrap has an intelligence that most slasher villains lack. Afton was always brilliant, an engineer, a programmer, a master manipulator, and those instincts survive inside the suit. Springtrap can hotwire systems, exploit mechanical weaknesses, manipulate technology with a predator's cunning. He stalks silently through facilities. He sets traps. He uses environmental layouts to corner victims. Even when he's half rotten and dragging metal pieces, he can sneak through entire buildings without making a sound. 1 second he's far away, the next he's right behind you. But the thing that makes Springtrap uniquely terrifying is the psychological side. See, Michael Myers kills because he's a void. Jason kills because he's rage. Springtrap kills because he wants to. He enjoys it. He feeds on it. In the games and novels, his voice carries a calm, almost pleasant tone when discussing murder. He has no empathy, no guilt, and no fear. Where most killers are driven by compulsion, Springtrap is driven by intent. He doesn't just stab or slash, he dismantles, he experiments, he studies how people die. And that calm, methodical cruelty is amplified by how impossible he is to stop. Burn him, he comes back. Crush him, he comes back. Purge his code, he comes back digitally. Destroy the suit, he manifests through Remnant. Springtrap is a slasher villain whose entire arc is about transcending death through science and supernatural corruption. Every iteration of him is more dangerous, more unhinged, and more determined. In some endings, he even gains direct control over entire animatronic armies, hijacking their programming through remnant influence. Springtrap isn't just William Afton's body, he's William Afton's obsession given form. A killer who refused to die and instead fused himself into something beyond human. Monster that is equal parts man, machine, and spirit, constantly rotting, constantly suffering, and constantly returning. Springtrap is the man behind the slaughter, and he never stays dead. So, now that we've looked at both monsters separately, it's time to put them in the same room. What you get is one of the strangest, ugliest, and deadliest matchups in the slasher world. On one side, Michael Myers, hatred wrapped in flesh who can break bones with his bare hands. On the other, Springtrap, a rotting metal corpse powered by science, murder, agony, and the kind of metaphysics you don't put in a children's restaurant. This fight, it starts deceptively close. Physically, both characters operate around the street to wall level range, capable of tearing people apart and taking absurd amounts of punishment. Michael shatters skulls, caves in police partitions, survives point-blank gunfire, and gets rammed by cruisers without dropping. Springtrap, meanwhile, scales to animatronics who can crush children's heads, rip limbs off adult victims, smash reinforced doors, and walk through environments designed to keep them contained. And that's before factoring in that William Afton, as a human, could overpower the original Freddy lineup. Once William becomes Springtrap, he straight up upscales every one of those feats. Even in speed, these two are surprisingly comparable at first glance. Michael has multiple blur statements in both visual scenes and the novels. It consistently disappears from sight in ways that imply subsonic bursts. Springtrap and the other animatronics do the same, vanishing from cameras, appearing across rooms without transition, being described as moving fast, faster, and too fast the later the night goes. Guidebooks, spin-offs, and the novels reinforce that animatronics really do hit those speeds. And in Springtrap's case specifically, he's directly stated to move like a race car. That's over 200 miles per hour. That's subsonic. He's not just fast for a rotting corpse, he's fast for anything. So if this were just strength and speed, the two might stalemate for a while. But this fight was never about who hits harder or who runs faster. This fight is about what each character is, because underneath the masks and the myths, they're built completely different. Michael Myers is a physical force, flesh and bone twisted into something unkillable, but still rooted in biology. Springtrap is something else entirely. He's a hybrid creation, part man, part machine, part ghost, part whatever remnant really is. For Michael Myers, victory comes from breaking your body. For Springtrap, the body part is optional. The first major turning point in this fight is durability over time. Michael's strongest feats often leave him stunned, slowed, or at least momentarily put on his back foot, getting shot, stabbed, burned, hit by cars. He always comes back, but there is a limit. Michael can be overwhelmed, he can be slowed, he can be incapacitated through cumulative trauma. Springtrap doesn't have cumulative trauma. Springtrap barely has trauma at all. He shrugged off 30 years of immobilization inside a spring-locked suit, a torturous, crushing metal coffin, all without dying. He survived the Fazbear's Fright Fire, even though the fire explicitly weakens Remnant. and even weakened, the guy crawled out of the building like it was just another Tuesday. The same Springtrap who walks away from Infernos is the same Springtrap who gets smashed, crushed, torn apart, and still refuses to die. Michael can tank a lot. Springtrap can tank for forever. And that's the real issue. This fight has two very different definitions of death. When Michael dies, he dies in the way a slasher dies. Temporarily, dramatically, and inevitably undone by plot convenience or some metaphysical nonsense tied to his mask. But his body is the anchor. His flesh is the limitation. You take away the body and Michael might come back depending on the canon, but the mechanism is never guaranteed. Even in Halloween Ends, the novelization goes out of its way to clarify that the mask rejuvenates him, that his body heals when he wears it. Michael's resurrection is conditional. Springtrap's resurrection is not conditional. It's metaphysical. It's baked in. This is where Remnant and Agony enter the matchup. No matter how you feel about the FNAF novels, this is the core explanation of every haunted animatronic in the canon. Remnant binds the soul. Agony powers it, and William Afton is the only character in the franchise who fully understands how to manipulate it. Remnant makes him immortal, full stop. Destroying the Springtrap suit destroys the shell, not the entity inside. William persists as a spirit of agony. He can passively possess new metal. He can reconstitute himself inside other animatronics. He can return by spiritual attachment, by sheer force of emotional hatred, or by waiting for a new vessel. Michael Myers can crush the suit, tear out wires, rip off limbs, even stomp Springtrap into metallic paste. And it wouldn't matter. William Afton isn't a ghost who occasionally manifests. He's a constant, persistent force. His existence is tied to Remnant, not flesh. And Michael has no exorcism feats, no soul manipulation, no sealing ability, and no counter to possession. Even if Michael Myers hits building level force for a moment and shreds the body, Springtrap just comes back. A new vessel, a new shell, the same mind, the same purpose. And that's the final nail in the coffin. Michael Myers can win the physical fight, but he can't win the war. He can break bones, he can break machines, he can even break animatronics, but he can't put William Afton down permanently. Meanwhile, Springtrap can kill Michael. He only needs to do it once. Michael is vulnerable to brute force. He can be pinned, he can bleed, he can suffocate, he can be dismembered, he can die the old-fashioned way. Springtrap, he already did, and he came back. That's the difference. Michael Myers is a slasher who refuses to stay down. Springtrap is a slasher who can't stay down. Michael needs his body, Springtrap does not. And in a fight between a mortal monster and an immortal one, the one with the spirit tethered to endless agony is leaving that room and coming back for the sequel. Springtrap wins.